look at this doorbell footage released from the independent MP James McMurdock showing an Amazon delivery driver barging into his family home.
Well, Essex police say we have seen the video. A senior officer is calling Mr McMurdock straight away and we're investigating. We will find out exactly what has happened and we'll make sure he is updated.
Well, the independent MP for South Basildon and East Thurrock, James McMurdock, joins us now. James, good morning. You must have been incredibly surprised when the door just opened and this man walked in. What was your response?
Whoa is the quick and short answer to that. Thank you very much for having me on your show this morning. It's frightening. What you do not expect to see bursting through your front door is a grown man that you've never seen before. I had 3 of my young children on the living room floor, just feet behind me. And if I'd have been somewhere else, you know, who knows really what the next actions would have been. So deeply frightening and certainly something that needs looking at from my position as a parliamentarian on how we can improve things for the whole country.
Yeah, James, many people will be asking about your security arrangements here because you are a member of Parliament and, you know, the ability for someone just to be able to barge in your front door like this should be very worrying. Are you speaking to parliamentary authorities about this too?
Yeah, so I do want to be slightly cautious with what I say here. I do have some extremely effective deterrents in place, and I do have a lot of security. The trouble with a lot of those things is they are almost sort of the nuclear option. And what I had here was a man, frankly, completely surprised me. It's very fortunate that I was in absolutely the right place at the absolutely the right time. And I, by my presence, managed to get him out of my home very quickly. Now, I could have used some of those measures, which would have brought a lot of police to me immediately. But because I was able to get the door closed and lock it, I was able to take a few minutes to decide whether that was fully appropriate.
Using the internet without a VPN, a virtual private network, is a bit like taking to the road without car insurance. All it takes is one unlucky moment to cost you a lot of cash. This video's sponsor is Private Internet Access. They are the VPN to help keep you safe. Click the link in the description below to find out why over 30 million people have downloaded PIA to protect themselves online. A virtual private network is an app that hides your IP address and helps keep your data private. When you're browsing the internet at home, you give up a large amount of data to businesses, to shops, and indeed to social media giants too. Hackers have the ability to steal your personal data with ease, including sensitive information such as passwords, keystrokes, and even your personal photos. Private Internet Access helps protect your personal data by encrypting your internet connection to keep your data out of the hands of cyber criminals. And it's not just hackers either to be concerned about. Information can be censored too. When Canada passed their C18 bill, social media giants decided to ban news content on their platforms. But PIA can protect your ability to consume the news and content you love. Private Internet Access is available for Windows users, Mac OS, Android, Linux, iOS, and you can use one PIA subscription to protect an unlimited amount of devices. And we've got a huge GB News discount for you too. Click the link in this video's description and you'll get a massive 83% off PIA. That's under £2 a month, the price of a coffee, and you'll get an extra 4 months completely free on top. Also, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee too. Visit piavpn.com/GB News to start protecting yourself digitally today.
Obviously, I rang 999. Obviously, I explained the situation to them. But I think what's really exacerbated this and forced me to look at this from a more strategic position in terms of how we deal with this for everyone in the country is their response. And I will stress, I'm not someone who takes any pleasure from bad-mouthing our frontline services. These guys really do some heroic work. But I think the response yesterday was somewhat lacking. There's a grown man has entered someone's home. Now, there is a lot of legality around intent, and that is probably the crucial point that the police would focus on. But of course, they're just making assumptions, and that's really where this falls down. we've got a member of parliament, a grown man has stormed into his house, and their answer was, oh, it's a civil matter, no. And I was so shocked by that I actually dialed 999 again a few minutes later to double check that they understood what was being said, and they did. So not good enough, certainly something we need to look at from a legal perspective and a training police response perspective.
Absolutely, and it's extraordinary that given so many people now have these doorbells that record CCTV, it's extraordinary that anybody would take that risk of being caught on camera barging into somebody's house. Maybe they just assume, like actually did happen, that the police would not respond at all.
And this really is the danger, and this is where we have to be so careful. And as a legislator, we have to think whether the existing laws are good enough. You know, we as consumers have changed our habits. We do a lot more shopping online. We have a lot more people come to our homes by virtue of that. And at this time of year, there'll be a lot of extra temporary staff come on. And let's all be frank about this: security is not as tight as we might all want it to be. So what we have here is the potential where that 1 in a million person now has this opportunity to just completely avoid scrutiny. Oh, yes, I am checking every door. I am letting myself into every home, but I've got a parcel in my hand. You know, my intent is pure and honest. And I don't think that's good enough as legislators for us to operate under that sort of assumption.
James, briefly as well, do you know what the intent might have been to come into your front door? Have you got any understanding of that? Did he say anything to you that you can share with us?
He backed up very quickly. He was very apologetic, back. But of course, at that point, he had a grown man storming towards him. And you can see from his body language in his face, before he was confronted by me, his actions were quite different. Now, look, I do want to stress this. It could genuinely be an honest mistake. The guy's misunderstood and thought my front door was perhaps a porch door. I will say he'd be the first person in 10 years that's ever done that. He's under a covered porch already. It's dry. It wasn't raining anyway. You know, 1,000 other parcels have been left there without concern. And this was, you know, a generic parcel, no signing, no special delivery. So it was certainly shocking. And I think the good thing to take away from this, the positive, is obviously no one's come to any harm. And what we have here is this situation where we can now scrutinise whether the existing laws are good enough and whether we're keeping our population safe enough.
Will you encourage people to lock their front doors?
Certainly. I mean, it's sad, isn't it? I'm sure we'd all like to live in the world where your neighbours can pop their head in and, you know, your family can let themselves in. And I will stress this, as a rule, my doors are locked. I spoke to my wife and their oldest, and they said, oh, should we lock the door behind us? And they said, no, we're only going to be 5 minutes, because they were running a quick errand. So this is a bit of a fluke and freak situation. But it's a shame. I don't want us to live in this kind of fear-induced world. And I think a lot of the things we're discussing in Parliament, you know, are sticking plasters on problems that I would prefer us to avoid. I think we need to be very careful about the type of country we build for ourselves.
Indeed. Well, that's the independent MP for South Basildon and East Thurrock, James McMurdock. Lovely to see you, my friend. See you again very soon. Well, an Amazon spokesperson has said this.
We have very high standards for the delivery service providers we work with. We're looking into this matter and we have reached out to the customer.